Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Summer Guest Series brought to you by the University of San Diego, specifically the Jacobs Institute for Innovation and Education. We are so happy that you could join us this afternoon. Please say hi in the chat and let us know where you're coming from. We're so happy you could spend just a few moments of your afternoon with us. We are super excited to have with us author and educational leader, Traci Browder. We're looking forward to her presentation today entitled UDL SDG Inquiry-Based Virtual or In-Person Collaborative Learning. Before she begins, I would like to share with you a brief bio on our speaker. Traci Browder is a trailblazer in education, inspiring and mentoring teachers and changing the lives of children for more than 16 years. She was Teacher of the Year her very first year of teaching. That's amazing. And was chosen as Teacher of the Year a few years later in her current district. Browder possesses a master's in curriculum and instruction from Dallas Baptist University and is a former reading specialist and instructional coach. She has served as part of curriculum writing teams in each of the 3 districts in which she has worked. Browder is best known for her innovative, out-of-the-box teaching style with a mixture of Montessori, gifted and talented, and special services all rolled into one classroom environment. That sounds like fun. We're so happy to have you. And at this time, I'll turn it over to you, Traci.
Hi, thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is safe and healthy and just gearing up for the next school year. If you're in the classroom or at the university, kids and students are coming back. So this is why we're here. This is what we do. So you are here. This is all about universal design learning, sustainable development goals, inquiry-based learning. How on earth do we do that all in one big ball? Well, we're going to break that down, and it's really, really exciting. So hang on just a second. Oh, there we go. There's just a little delay. So we're already checking in with each other. She's done my introduction, but I will say really quickly that I'm super excited about my first book coming out with DBC. She said that it is all about creating equitable spaces in our schools, classrooms, and really within the community. And one thing I'm super excited about is I was awarded a $10,000 grant in my school district to just create some grassroots education and awareness within the community and within our schools. So super excited about that. And along with that, co-founder of Grit Crew EDU with my dear friend, Dawn Harris. So super excited, a lot going on. Now, as we dive into this conversation, I'm sharing this, whether you are at the university level, the secondary level, or K-12. We always want to have this welcoming environment, an environment that says, this is your space, not mine, your space, a space that fosters collaboration, that's learner-centric. And even in the university setting, like think about a Starbucks lounge. And I know that's not what this is, but this first step is really important to fostering and supporting and sustaining innovative learning. So with that being said, this is kind of through the years, this shows you just these pictures alone, it's evidence that, I try to live it in my classroom every single day. I try to foster the relationships, the social emotional learning, a social emotional lifestyle is truly a priority. Flexible learning environment, and an environment where students are creative and they own the learning. There's a culture of caring so that kids feel safe and comfortable to take risks. And conversation is the norm. Like there should never ever be this quiet, super quiet space. Unless in certain scenarios, but by and large, the learning happens when students are dialoguing, interacting, and engaging. So I did have to share this a little bit because having a foundation like this truly sets you on fire for this innovative learning journey that we're going to talk about. So what is universal design learning? I have a Wakelet that we're going to share, actually a PDF, because I think our sharing settings were a little bit wonky, but universal design learning, I'm going to take you first in understanding what it is briefly. It's a framework. This definition is directly from cast.org. It's a framework to improve and optimize teaching and learning for all people based on scientific insights into how humans learn. Universal design learning is designed to minimize barriers and optimize access. So when we dive into this, you'll get to see how truly every student is a contributor in the way they enjoy learning and receiving information. And so there are these key components to universal design learning, and each of these areas provide multiple means of engagement, representation, action, and expression. And on their website, it's scientific, it's research based. The engagement piece is the why of learning. The representation piece is the what of learning, and the action and expression is the how of learning. So as we go through this, I'm going to weave in all of these pieces and components. Now, sustainable development goals. This is the core of the work of the United Nations, truly to make the world a better place. So as I'm talking, you can kind of glance over the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And I promise you, every classroom, whether it's secondary or K-12, if you weave these concepts, these goals into your instruction, into your curriculum, into student research and projects and learning experiences, they are going to be better, productive, contributing human beings. So just take a moment to look at those. Powerful, impactful, life-changing. When you go to their website, you can read even deeper on what each one of these means. And I'm going to jump ahead for a second. My class chose Sustainable Development Goal 6, which is clean water and sanitation. So I just wanted to point that out, that it's right there, and that was the basis of everything that I'm going to share with you in a moment. Now, you have to know the story. I'm giving you, we're going to talk about UDL, SDGs, and inquiry-based learning and thinking through a year-long experience that I was fortunate enough to have with these amazing women that you see on the screen right now. Author Barbara Bray hosted a New Year's Eve celebration virtually last year. And Stephanie Todd and I, she's the one right below me, we were on the Zoom, and Stephanie she'll tell you that she's this really kind of, quiet person that doesn't quite do these types of things, a Zoom party with people you don't even know. So Barbara had us in breakout rooms, and in the breakout rooms, it was getting to know you. And a few of us said we love inquiry-based learning. And, teachers, when we're excited about something, we were just like, and Barbara said, okay, time's up. And we were like, no. So Stephanie and I met offline, and we were so excited that now I should say, I'm in Texas, Stephanie's in California. And I teach kindergarten. Stephanie teaches high school honors AP. Let that sit for a moment. And we decided that we were going to get our classes together in some type of inquiry-based learning journey. Barbara came in because we were like, okay, Barbara has to be a part of this. She has to know that because of something she hosted, we're about to go off the deep end and do something really unconventional. And we had no idea what it was going to look like. Now, the other person below Barbara happens to be, Stephanie ended up getting a student teacher. And Stephanie also took on a new role while all of this was happening as a tech specialist, not leaving her student teacher, but her student teacher then had to carry on this mission that we were doing, plus student teaching. So this was a very exciting school year. And it's important to point out that if you see that each of us brought something different to the table. And what I learned in this journey, so Barbara is the Sustainable Development Goal guru. I mean, she's been on committees. If you ever want to really go deeper in sustainable development goals, Barbara would be your person. Stephanie her classroom is it operates on universal design learning. And mine operates on inquiry-based learning. However, when I started doing the research and learning about UDL, I was already doing it. And I think we're all already doing it, but it's just so awesome to know that how you're teaching and the experiences you're providing are providing those tearing down the barriers to access and giving kids opportunities that they may not otherwise have. Okay, specifics. For my class, now I just told you a minute ago, Stephanie's role kind of changed. And honestly, she was like, Traci, I don't know if we're going to be able to pull this off. And she tells the story. She says, and you didn't give up. You kept pushing. You were like, no, let's figure out how to make this happen. So February, if you were anywhere in the world, you know about the Texas winter storm. Now, this is actually, I can look out my window. This is where I'm looking is the window I took this picture out of. We were iced in. That's my boot actually on ice in Texas, where usually it's like 110, 105 degrees in the summer. Like, we don't get this kind of weather, but it crippled us. It absolutely crippled us. Fast forward, students were coming. I taught last year virtually. That's important to say. Students were coming on to class in gloves, mittens, scarves, jackets, blankets, because a lot of us didn't get power back on. But it's COVID, so you can't just go to a hotel. Or some families, they lost power, they went to a relative's house, the relative's house lost power, so those two families went to another house, and it was just this domino effect. So when we got back to school, we started talking about it, and I was like, if we're going to focus on universal design learning and inquiry-based thinking and learning, shouldn't we make it a real world connection? And this is something that kids were experiencing. So I seized that opportunity. I recruited that interest. As you can see, all of these characteristics under engagement, this was the opportunity that we needed to really make a difference in the world, even as kindergartners. So I introduced to them, let's see if it'll come up next. Hang on. Oops, there we go. I might need to, nope, okay. So we decided that we were going to collaborate, and we had, at one point, we hadn't figured out what we were going to do. So prior to the winter storm, the Zoom party happened in the end of December. So in January, we were just kind of talking, trying to figure things out. And what we did know that we wanted them to collaborate and connect. So we started with introductions on Flipgrid. So students were able, these high school students and kindergarten students were able to introduce themselves on Flipgrid, interact with each other. In fact, I'm going to be brave and click, and hopefully we get back.
Hi, my name is Lourdes Hill. My friends call me Lola, and I'm in kindergarten. I attend Cora Spencer Elementary School, and it's in Mansfield, Texas. The three most important things to me is creating, my family, and reading. I just can't live without them. I am from the Windy City. That's called Chicago, in case you didn't know. Bye, see you around.
So friends, with this experience, it wasn't just about, and I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but this is really important. As we began to build a Flipgrid and gave students opportunities to interact, you'll start to see like all of these, all of the ways we started weaving in universal design learning, the representation, inspiration. We talked about how high school students need to communicate in a way that kindergartners will understand. Appropriate communication. I see I missed a T, my apologies. I triple checked this. I talked to the kindergartners. You can see she listed 3 main things. Like we talked, we spent time. What do you like? What do you enjoy? So that's still that recruiting the interest so that they would be invested in this process. And I'm sharing the link to that flip grid, you'll see students interacting and responding to each other. Here, this should take us to a different, oh, it didn't do it. Hang on. I don't want to share that yet. I thought I changed that. I don't know if I could only do one link on that page because I kept changing it to the flip grid. But anyway, I just shared with you that link, and I'll go back to this in a minute. I don't want to talk about that just yet. So what we did, pause it.
Hold on, parents' turn. We always talk.
Okay. What we decided to do was with the Texas winter storm, I told the kids, look, we lost power, we lost water, for a little while, but there are people in other parts of the world that this is their every single day. And when I said that, the kids were like, you mean they don't have water? I was like, well, and so I started kind of explaining like unsanitary water, how they have to get water, they have to walk to get water. Kids miss school, the water is unsanitary, so it causes illness. And the compassion that these kids had and the shock that, wait, this is a thing. So when I tested that interest, when I recruited that interest, they were committed. So then we went on a journey of exploration. Now we were virtual, so all of the parents, here's the inquiry-based learning. The families at home spent time researching ways to learn more about the world's water crisis in other countries. And so we're all researching. And I actually came across World Vision, who hosts a global 6K for water. And there's fundraising involved and all those kinds of things. Well, we didn't want to do the fundraising part. So I actually reached out to the organization, like, what can we do if we want to have this experience, but not do the fundraising part? We're just not there yet. And they said, you know what? Host a mock global 6K, do every single thing except raise the funds. So we did that. And the kids went on a journey of making t-shirts, making a campaign in school. So our flip grid, we had, I think it's on one of these pages, we did announcements every single day. The students wrote and created announcements that I just simply was the recorder and shared it out to the school. So the whole community started getting involved in ways we can conserve water. How can we be better stewards and not wasteful of our own water when our friends in other places don't have access to water? So we were trying to make a difference here in our own space while learning about the problems and the crisis in other countries. When we met with, so I shared with you about the collaboration with Stephanie's class. When we actually finally met, and there's a video about that, we were listening and learning what they did. So we focused on Sustainable Development Goal 6. Her class, individually, each high school student chose what was important to them, created websites and all these sorts of things. So when we got together, our class actually listened to their class and what they had to share, and they listened to what we had to share. But there's something amazing that happened as a result of that. So I'm going to go ahead for a moment.
So hold on.
What are other ways we can save water?
Okay, well, I'll have to do it here. When Stephanie's class, it might be back. Hang on a second.
So
I know y'all are probably like, what is she doing? I'm trying to find.
We included a quiz on, like, you can take it and learn more, I guess, about gender equality.
This is the day we met.
And like things you may not have known, like unequal pay and stuff like that. And there are a lot of articles we each wrote on there. So you can learn a lot about gender equality and mental health issues. And so I thought that was a really important subject to address. And so I created a website with a ton of different resources that people struggling could go to. I wrote a song about it because
Hi guys, my name is Denise, and I'm in kindergarten and I'm in Mrs. Browder's class. And we were working on something about water. People had to walk 3 hours to get water, and it's dirty. And so we are going to be doing a global 6K walk. And so I hope you will come. Bye. Water, oh water, save some water today. Oh, water, water, save some water today.
Okay, there's just pictures. Now, she created that song. This became an opportunity for students to truly express themselves and really dive deep into what was important to them. So in the representation aspect of universal design learning, by every family researching, by you facilitating research and learning and thinking, there's the comprehension, the experience, the language, the perception. How do we communicate this? How do I document it? You see under perception the information display, auditory information, visual information. You're reaching, how does each student learn and how do they want to produce what they've learned? So when we met with Stephanie's class, this was the important thing. My kids were listening to her class and they said, Ms. Browder, all of these kids created websites. Why can't we create a website? So connecting with her class, and I hope you saw how intently all of the kids were listening to each other. So we went on a mission of, I didn't just set up a website for them. I explained what it means to be social media safe, what it means. I explained to them, like, we have to think of hashtags. We have to think of a website name that makes sense. So there were brainstorming sessions, and they came up with Water Little Helpers for our website. Now, there was actually a news story, like the media picked up the story on the kids doing a global 6K walk. But it was more than that. Like, I don't waste water anymore. To this day, I still don't waste water. So the impact that these kids had on my life, it was life-changing for me. Now, this, you see me keep kind of coming back. So we were virtual. So when we went on this mission to create a website, I wanted it to be student generated content. So there's only like one little section that I actually authored. Everything on the website is student created content, and the parents facilitated breakout rooms for the kids. So all they were was scribes. They emailed me the content and then I uploaded it on the website. But I did this live on our Teams call so kids could understand how to build a website. We talked about the tabs. They told me what made sense, where they wanted things. So as I'm saying this out loud, I'm like, oh my gosh, we designed a website virtually with kindergartners. Like, that is insane. So these two videos, and I won't click on them because of time, but this is just parents and kids coming back from the breakout room, reporting to us the content and the conversation that they had in order to build our website. So this whole plan, like, they actually created a plan. They wanted a website to share out about their water awareness. They wanted to do the mock global 6K. They wanted to build awareness within our school and the community. So in the school, the videos that they put out every single morning, plus they invited their thinking, their decision, their choice. They invited the school to connect with them on Flipgrid. And so the school was able to watch their videos and interact with them. And I have something very special to share. kind of a cherry on top to that. But this was the mock Global 6K day, and it poured down rain. In fact, you can see my little one in her little pink raincoat. But the families took this to the next level, y'all. They went to Hobby Lobby. They bought tie-dye paint, and they made their shirts. They made these little buckets. They came to the school. I had all of these arts and crafts materials out if people wanted to get it. So look at what you can do, even virtually, to make a difference in the world. Now, this piece is the action and expression. However, all of these components really are woven all throughout, from the beginning to the end, the engagement all throughout, the representation all throughout. So it's not linear the way I have it designed here. I just really did this for time's sake. But this was the Global 6K Walk Day, and it was beautiful. It was fun. It was special because this was the first time my kids actually ever met each other face to face. And this was in May. So remember, we solidified what we were doing for sure in January. And so from January to May, all of this work happened, all of this connecting with the high school class. Now, what we did was powerful and amazing. But you know how you often say, even if I can just reach one? When we shared our Flipgrid with the school, and teachers took time out of their day and gave children the opportunity to respond to my kids, but not only respond, now the whole school was figuring out ways they could conserve water. Here's what we learned from one student. It's going to be a little noisy in the background, so try to listen closely. Oh, wait, I have to go. I'm sorry. That's through my ISD one. Here we go.
Hello, kindergartners. So I know water, we use it every day to survive. Water is something that every country in the world needs. And the other stuff is water. We need water to survive and for other stuff, like for pools and other stuff. I was born in Africa, and I know my family, they don't have enough water like we do in America here. So we gotta stop wasting water because it's just a waste. In other countries, do it to survive, or if we don't, they drink dirty water, which is pretty not good for their bodies. And I know that because some of my family is there, and I know they hate doing that almost every day. They can get sick from doing it, and there's all different kind of disgusting stuff in water. So I hope you remember it. Bye.
Now, I mean, can you imagine what that did for my kids, to know that they were on this mission of trying to create awareness about being good stewards for water, and they were educating. So I failed to say, we watched videos of life in other countries. So they actually got to see some pretty tough things about unsanitary water. So to see that with kids they don't know, and then to see a classmate within their own building have a firsthand connection to it. There were parents in tears, kids were in tears, and this is kindergarten, y'all. So, what we do, this is not just about an experience. This is truly about changing lives. That's where the grassroots humanitarianism comes in. Like what we choose to do with our students, the experiences we choose to provide. Our goal, our hope is that we're making a difference, not only in their lives, but in the lives really around the world. So that being said, that was a quick short. I hope I didn't run over time on how you can weave all of, sorry, how you can weave all of this into a powerful, memorable learning experience. These are the ways to connect with me at my website, tracibrowder.com. You can email me, traci@tracibrowder.com. You can please subscribe to my podcast, Intelligogy, the podcast. And I'm really active on Twitter. And at Twitter is Traci Browder, Intelligogy, and Grit Crew EDU. So I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. And that is all.
Thank you so much, Traci, for that wonderful presentation. It was really great to see students really engaged in learning along with the community. I'm going to stop recording now, but if you have any questions, this is for anyone who's on the webinar, feel free to place them in the chat, or you can turn on your camera and we'll stay on for a couple of minutes if you have any questions.